Imagine this perspective shift on your periods. Most women in India, oh, I have my periods. I am now not allowed to enter temples. I can't go anywhere because I have my periods. While the goddess way of thinking of it is, I have my periods. I don't want to meet anyone. I don't want to go anywhere. Close the temple gates. I am resting. So that is the magic of the Ambubachi Mela or the Kamakhya temple. So every year for 3 days in June, you have this Ambubachi Mela where the goddess bleeds or the goddess is having her menstrual periods and the gates of the Kamakhya temple remain closed. Hi, my name is Dr. Koheli Bhattacharya, the author of the book Shiva Shakti, and today in this video I am going to tell you the sacredness of our periods, the importance of the Kamakhya temple, as well as my own life incident where Kamakhya came to me in my dreams at a night, as well as I'm going to explain to you what are the magic of the Shaktipeeths as well. So let's start at the very beginning. The beginning when Lord Kamakhya or the goddess Kamakhya was formed. So Kamakhya is where the womb or the yoni of Shakti lies. So how did it happen that a part of her body came to rest in Kamakhya? For this, we must understand the story of the Shaktipeeths itself. Once upon a time, Sati and Shiva were married, but Sati's father was not happy with this marriage. So one day, Daksh, Sati's father, had a yagya or a fire ceremony at his home, but he did not call Sati and Shiva for this festivities. But Sati wanted to go to her parents' home, so she showed up at the yagya. At this moment, people humiliated her, embarrassed her, spoke ill about her husband and their union. And at this moment, feeling a lot of guilt and shame and embarrassment, she stepped into the fire and self-immolated herself. At this momentous moment, Shiva lost Sati to the fire. He became a widower. And at this moment, he carried her burning body or her burnt body across the world, across the country, and wherever she walked, little bits of herself fell to the ground, and wherever they fell, he created a temple in the memory of the love that they shared, and this became the 51 Shaktipeeths. Let me read a little bit about the Shaktipeeths from my book, Shiva Shakti, so that you can really immerse yourself in the essence of the Shaktipeeths. This is from page 114. Tenderly, he gathered his wife's charred body and embarked on a solitary journey of togetherness. Lord Shiva wandered the earth with Sati's body, witnessing as her essence scattered into 51 parts and her ornaments adorned different corners of the world. Imagine that last walk. A heartbroken husband carries the earthly remains of his beloved wife. He is directionless because she gave direction to him. He is faithless because she inspired faith in him. He is filled with love because all that love he flowed towards her, she is unable to receive any more. And the world got the highest form of love, the Shaktipeeths, the 51 places where Sati's remains turned into the divine feminine. Also, each of these places are guarded by a Shiva avatar called the Kal Bhairav or the Bhairavas, the divine masculine who will always protect the divine feminine. This is the power of the Shaktipeeths, are not only powerful places of worship of the divine feminine, but is also a place of the embodiment of the deep love that Shiva and Shakti shared. Now let's go on to learning more about Kamakhya, that place where the yoni or the womb or the fertile ground or the fertile place of Shakti now resides. Now this resting place is in Guwahati in Assam. So let me read again from my book Shiva Shakti a little bit about the Kamakhya temple. Nestled at the base of the Neelachal hills, just west of Guwahati, with a tranquil stream from the Brahmaputra river nearby, lies one of the most potent Shaktipeeths, the Kamakhya temple. Here lies the sanctum where the womb and the genitals of Sati found their final resting place. In Hindi, there exists a beautiful word, yoni, which encompasses the entirety of the female reproductive organ, from the external vulva to the innermost depths of the uterus, including the fallopian tubes that extend over the ovaries. When we speak of the yoni, we acknowledge not only a woman's capacity for childbirth, but also her pursuit of pleasure and her ability to derive pleasure in return. This is the home of the sacral chakra. It symbolizes both the act of creation and the reception of joy. Now, for a moment here, I want you to really take in the massiveness of this information. First of all, many cultures in the world do not even recognize women or the feminine as a goddess form. And they are either known as mothers of the gods or the wives of the gods. But here is a culture which celebrates the goddess in her own realm, right? And then the next bit, acknowledging that she bleeds. In many forms of the feminine, we acknowledge a woman to be a daughter or a wife or a mother, but to have her own essence, to have her own creativity, to have her own periods of bleeding. That is the power of the Kamakhya. That is the power of the Ambubachi Mela, to really acknowledge that women bleed and do not die. That is where her power lies. So with this in mind, how can you start to honor your periods and your menstrual cycles? Again, let's go into my own book and let me read for you a few activities that you can do in your life to honor your periods, and how will that really help you in your life. So this is from the page 123. So the first thing is, be mindful. Recognize and respect the times of the month when women need more rest and may have a lower tolerance for stress or overwhelm. Avoid planning social gatherings, parties, or date nights during her late luteal phase and menstrual cycles. So this actually helps even men and other women to help honor another woman's periods, right? Next thing is, plan activities accordingly. Organize enjoyable activities like parties, game nights, dance-a-thons, date nights, Zumba marathons during her follicular and ovulatory phases. The next is, create comforting experiences. During the luteal phase and menstruation, curate thoughtful experiences such as providing a hamper of relaxing essentials like bath salts, massage oils, a playlist of her favorite songs and movies, offer a foot or a back rub, watch comedies together, and indulge her in her favorite treats. And when I say indulge her in her favorite treats, you get to indulge yourself in second person, always thinking of your yoni as a goddess, always thinking that when you honor your follicular phase or your ovulatory phase or your menstrual periods, you are actually honoring the divine feminine within you, the Kamakhya within you. Next thing is that 51 Shaktipeeths, right? So how do you get to honor each of the Shaktipeeths? I have a special section on that as well. You can read that on page 134. But I want to end today's video by sharing my own dark night of the soul where I met Kamakhya. So this happened last year and I've written about it in my book. I will read a bit of it for you as well. So at Kamakhya, not only is it a temple for Kamakhya, but in and around that region, you will also have temples of the 10 Mahavidyas. Now, who are the 10 Mahavidyas? They are the dark feminine gods, the goddesses who are linked with things that are misunderstood or less understood, or the darker parts of our being. So those are the Mahavidyas. And so there was this one night when I had Kamakhya visit me. It was not the way you would imagine, like a goddess visiting someone, beaming and love and, blessing me with all the beautiful things like, hi, what would you want? It was not like a genie in a bottle, right? So if you are thinking, yes, I want the goddess to come meet me, then I just want to share my own incidents to give you some perspective. It was a very horrifying, very powerful, and very scary avatar of the goddess, right? The Mahavidyas, Kamakhya, Kalratri, these are goddesses who come in the darkness of the night, and they come asking for sacrifices that you can make to show that you are ready for that up leveling in your life. Yes, they will grant you your biggest wishes, but they also want to see what are you made of and do you deserve this, right? So it was not that I was asking of something, but goddess Kamakhya came to me, and that entire night was just filled with me howling into the night, crying in a lot of pain, and that pain did not just subside after one day. I had like it felt like my bones and my muscles had melted, and I had the skin, but like everything had just melted inside me, and it was that painful for me for almost a month. And I have written about this incident also inside my book Shiva Shakti. Let me read a little bit about that from, it says, My Own Encounter and Experience with the Mahavidyas and Kamakhya at page 215. It was a dark night of the soul where I surrendered to intense emotions, howling into the abyss until I could no longer cry, bleeding until I thought I had nothing left to bleed, and then a transformation began. This happened on the night between September 30th and October 1st, 2023. A dark night of the soul. It claimed everything, and I gave my everything. And then it started. My back burst from my head to the tail. My spine felt like it was torn open, and plates went in, and two arms came out from my scapula, and it felt like my back was in agony. And then it came, in one hand a whip, and in one hand a sword, and my feet and trunk shrunk, and I had feline legs, like legs of a tiger or a jaguar, half jaguar, half woman, and with 12 hands, the first two with a whip and a sword, and a back filled with spikes. I had transformed, right? And this is the form that I took while Kamakhya and Kalratri were baying for my blood. And what do I mean by that? They were asking for a sacrifice. And you will see that a lot of these goddesses and the temples of goddesses will have a need for you to make a sacrifice, to make a big claim, or make a big sign or show that yes, I am ready, or yes, I am willing to give this up to have this kind of transformation. So look for those moments in your own life. You will have moments where Kamakhya has visited you, or Lord Kali has visited you, where she has claimed everything, all of your identity, whatever you had in the past. Maybe your marriage will break down, maybe you will lose your income, maybe you will lose your home or your career. And that is the kind of sacrifice that you make of what you were to finally take on the mantle of who you were meant to be. And those and much more lessons about the goddesses inside my book Shiva Shakti, because there is so much more wisdom to be gathered from our own spirituality, our own mythological tales. I hope you learned a lot about Kamakhya, the Shaktipeeths, your own periods. Let me leave you with another little bit about connecting with your periods as well as the moon cycles. If you bleed during the new moon, so when the moon itself is resting, you yourself are resting, so your menstrual cycles are synced to the new moon, then that means that you are preparing yourself for a nurturing stage, where you are preparing yourself to take care of your family, of yourself, of your children, and you are in that matriarchal archetype of your life, or the princess or the maiden part of your life. Now, on the other hand, if you tend to bleed during the full moon or days prior or just after the full moon, then you are synced with the massiveness of the full moon, the light of the full moon. And when you bleed during these times, it just means that you are now up leveling yourself to take on a bigger stage, where you are now ready to become a medicine woman or a queen or a high priestess, or step into more of your light and serve more people, not just yourself and your home. So comment below if your periods are synced more to the new moon or to the full moon, or you want to know more about Kamakhya or the Mahavidyas, and definitely order my book Shiva Shakti from Amazon today. I will leave the link in the caption below.